Good evening. We'd like to start the evening with the call for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Haven't changed.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sounds like Richard's on
Yes,
We're on, but we can't see you.
I cannot see you. I'm
We
on.
got Richard again?
He's saying he can't see us.
Okay. Well, we can't see you either, Richard.
Makes us.
We're okay
All
then.
right. Makes us even, right?
We can see you now.
All right.
Yep.
All
Very
right.
good.
Could you do a roll call, please, Carol?
Ray Antonetti.
Here.
Richard Antonetti. Richard Antonetti.
Here.
He's here.
Ken Demers.
Here.
Dan DeVito.
Here.
Lou Esposito. Bob Marinero. Dave Pope.
Here.
Lou Cavallo.
Here.
Joe Duva. Jack McHugh.
Here.
Carol, did you get me Richard Antonetti here? Carol,
Yes, I'm sorry?
did you get my,
Yes, we know you're here. Yes, I marked you as present.
thank you.
All right.
Welcome.
All right. So we'd like to substitute, in place of Lou Esposito, Jack McHugh tonight. The next item on the agenda is public participation. Anybody from the public who would just like to have something to say, air something out? Anybody from the public? Anybody from the public? Okay. Next item is acceptance of minutes. The minutes aren't done, so we're going to table that.
The motion to table.
Yep, and then, well, all right, do we have a motion to table the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mark, you're next on the agenda. You have a staff report.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Just a couple of things. I'm happy to report that of the projects, the recent projects that were approved, 795 Straits Turnpike, which is the daycare center, has actually completed all their renovations. They were under a deadline from the state to be complete by like June 1st in order to be eligible for from some significant grant money. They did that. They got their they got their application, their information into the state, and they're preparing to open, which I believe they will do either later this month or by the 1st of July. They did a terrific job with the building. If you go by, all their signage is complete, the lighting, they did some paving, and a good example of, and I'm sure we're all happy that a vacant building was put to a good use on a busy road.
Great.
So they should do well. Normally, I tell you about any number of pre-application meetings that we hold during the course of the month, but in a little bit of an unusual move, the three meetings that we had with folks, they're all here tonight. They're all here tonight for informal presentations to the commission. And lastly, the town is in the process of instituting a new customer reporting software. So it's similar to like a 311 that the larger cities would have. If there's a complaint, an issue, a concern, folks can have a way to record that with the town, and on the town's end, it tracks those complaints, concerns, it assigns them to the appropriate departments, and it prompts them for follow-up, and also has a pretty robust reporting feature so we can keep track of both external and internal again, complaints, issues, concerns. So the town is rolling that out for implementation shortly. And that's it, unless you have any questions.
No, one question for you, quickly on that last item with the 311 complaints. The police department has jurisdiction over what in our town for
For blight,
blight?
yeah,
Okay.
over the blight ordinance.
All right, so if a 311 call comes into you, do you refer it?
No, actually, the software is, and we'll set it up so the software will be intelligent enough with, with the use of keywords and routing, I think they call it, is that when a complaint comes in, it'll recognize keywords in the complaint, and it'll automatically route to blight, to zoning, to the fire marshal, whoever needs to be involved.
Okay,
And then from there, if we need to involve others, we can also manually route it.
okay. And that's going to be set up and finished when?
I think the town manager wants to roll it out like pretty quickly, so I'd say in a matter of a week or two.
Cool, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so, old business, on the chairman's report, I have nothing to report. Old business? We have no old business. We have no public hearings, hooray.
Yeah.
New business, Ryan Geddes Jr., you're on.
I recuse myself.
Okay.
Thank you.
We can share.
Sure.
This is the one that's built. Okay. Yeah. And he's met the, Mark says he's met the affordable housing.
Yeah, he's doing 30%.
Right, right.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Go ahead, Ryan, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thanks for having me here. We're here tonight for the modification of our site plan on 243 Echo Lake Road. I submitted all the plans, let's get this here, and I just brought in a couple of supplement pages that I thought would help, is instead of having to go through the entire plan,
Okay.
we just took the modification and the original plan and overlaid the mod on the plan with red. Make it just like what's here in this board here. So I can show back to people here, if anyone's interested in looking at it. So basically, we have 5 buildings that were previously approved. And we're removing the first one on the right-hand side going in, and we're taking that pervious surface area, and we're gonna move it over to that new pavement area and sidewalk area, up on the left-hand side, which is also, in red. And if you look at new building C and new building B, they're in basically the same footprint. They're meeting the same setbacks. Actually, they're slightly smaller. So basically, we're not trying to ask for anything different in setbacks or anything like that. We're staying with the same setbacks. We are increasing the units, but we're doing a different unit mix. We're going 12 3-bedrooms, which is in the first building labeled A, and the first building D. Now, that was all previously approved. They all were gonna be 3-bedroom. But by moving to the new building C and the new building B, we're going to have 12 2-bedroom and 12 one-bedroom, 6 in one, 6 in the other, just so it'll be split. 6 two-bedroom in one, and then 6 one-bedroom in one, and then the same thing on the other building. So it's like you have Building A and Building D are identical, Building C and Building B will be identical, and they will be like this, which I gave a copy of. The other part of it is it increases the affordable by 2 units. So we had to go from 9 to 11.
Okay.
But that's good because we will end up with, we had 0 handicap units. We are going to have a minimum of 4. If we can make the building B line up the way I think it's going to, we may be able to add 2 additional handicap units. So just adding handicap units to that project is a huge plus, one for us and for the community, people looking to buy.
I have a question through the chair, if I may.
Sure. Feel
Ryan,
free.
yep. Ryan, how many more units are you adding in addition to the original plan?
So there's, originally was 29, and now it's 36.
Okay. Perfect, thank you.
Through the chair. Building A and D, those have garages, correct?
Correct.
And C and B will not have garages?
They will not.
Okay. Are you worried about the parking?
No, we increased the parking as well by keeping the parking on the building we eliminated that had garages. And we added a parking lot right up on the left-hand side on the plan.
Okay.
And so we've increased the parking. We've also increased the handicap spaces because of the units we're going to be putting in.
Jack, you had a question?
Already answered.
Okay. Do I see a walkout from the front, and then in the back, going up the hill, there's not gonna be a walkout there, right? Is that correct?
On,
Trying to get the
walk out on
layout.
which building?
Well, let's take, this plan right here, you sent us, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, I mean, I see how, just explain to me how it, where the entries for the, because you got 2 levels. They look like, there's no townhouses here. That's all 1 level, each apartment on each floor, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
if I may, can I?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These look like decks.
Yes, sir.
They're porches built into the actual, see like these little porches,
Uh-huh.
balcony. So that is where they would be coming in from that elevation.
Okay.
And then this would be the driveway. This was a rendering only
Okay.
because if we didn't get the approval on the modification, we didn't want to have to go and have a full set of plans done.
Right, okay.
This is the building we're going to use,
Oh.
but that's where they're going to enter. It just happens to show like a balcony there, but the door is just on the other side of it.
Okay, so,
Right in these areas.
so you got like a first floor, and then you have a second floor.
Correct.
Okay, and each floor has 4 units.
Yeah, so you
Okay,
have,
right.
these are 3 levels, 1,
Right.
2, 3.
Okay.
So the handicap would be down here.
Right.
And you would enter from the rear.
Okay, so you have so this doesn't show like a 3rd level, but there
Right,
is a
because
3rd
there's only
level.
2
So you have
second level,
Right.
first.
front elevation, and then it would say basement and first level.
Oh, I
and then
see.
second level.
Okay, all right. Okay, great.
Do you have to
Thanks, Steve.
sprinkle it with the 3 levels?
Whatever the building code has us do is what we will
Okay.
do. We'll build it to the code.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
Just one more.
Yep.
Or Jack, you want to go?
No, I don't have
Okay.
any more questions.
Through the chair, what's the fit and finish compared to the bigger units, like a 1-bedroom versus a 3-bedroom?
So exterior, interior?
Both.
So if you look at the exterior plan, I'm sorry. the facade on that is going to be very similar to the facade that's on a new building. There's gonna be vertical siding, like, so if you go by this building that's being sided now, they
Yep.
just haven't they didn't do
Right.
the front. I wish they did, because then
Yeah.
that would answer it.
Yep.
So in the overhangs, there's gonna be shake.
Yep.
And those little strips coming down is gonna be shake.
Yep.
And then those wide parts where it bumps out in the front, that's gonna be vertical siding, the
Okay.
same color as the rest of the building. And then the rest of it is double four siding.
Yep,
You're gonna have full stone in the front. I don't know if anyone's driven by and saw the cobblestone, and so we're gonna do, pretty classy, setup on these units.
Okay.
So it's very similar on the other one, so you'll have stone, you kind of see the shakes on the, building. The only thing we're gonna change is some of the siding. I wanna do some vertical, so the building's kind of, I don't want them to be like cookie cutter.
right,
I want them to be a little different, so like the first big building, whatever the colors you see on it will reverse on the second building in the back.
Okay.
And then the next building will do similar colors and will reverse it on the next one. So yes, they're gonna match, but they're gonna be in reverse, and they're just gonna be classy,
yeah,
you
okay.
know?
And how about the interiors?
So the interior is gonna basically be, all hardwood floors, stainless steel appliances, shaker-style cabinets, customer's choice. They've got like half a dozen choices. LED lighting. There's upgrades for like smart home stuff. And, crown molding on certain areas. There's different packages they can
Sure,
do on the inside.
absolutely, yep,
But very, very clean, very modern.
okay,
Central air, central heat.
yep,
It's all natural gas that's coming in from Eversource. Really, almost like what you would put in a normal home.
yeah, okay. And what's the price point?
So we're gonna be in the low to mid twos on the ones, high twos on the twos, and like 320s, 330 on the threes.
Brian, where are the affordable units?
So the affordable units, they don't pick what bedroom you have to have. They just say 30% of the units need to be. I'm gonna tend to put them towards the handicap units, because I think those are the people that are gonna need them more than just, your standard buyer.
So the handicap units are gonna be in building B,
We're gonna be in building B and building
D,
D, yes.
C, C.
Yeah, B and
C
C.
and, B and C,
Yeah.
Yep.
okay,
A and D are
all right.
different.
Is there gonna be a size difference in the unit?
So one bedrooms will be a certain size. The actual square footage isn't picked yet.
Right.
It's kind of ballpark, because the handicap bathroom has to be laid out right. So it may chop out of the main living square footage. So the one bedrooms will probably be 120 square feet less than the
regular
than the
units.
others.
Right.
We already know the three bedrooms are like 1,500 square feet,
Okay,
and that doesn't count the garage area.
okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, they're going through the building A right now. They're doing all the mechanicals in it now. We're just waiting for our vinyl supply people to show up with our vertical siding that seems to be non-existent.
Yeah,
Have prices leveled off a little bit, building supply?
Lumber's come way down.
Okay,
Yeah, perfect example. The truss package for building A was $89,000. Just the truck, the roof trusses,
Right,
floor
right.
trusses. The new one for the building in the back that's identical, it's $69,000,
wow. Yeah, it's a
big
lot.
difference,
so.
25% cut.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I saw that the other day. I was like, let's order now. Let's order now.
Any other questions, any commissioners, any questions?
One quick one, sorry, through the chair. When do you think you'll have building A done? When are you hoping to be able to move people in?
See, like, we'll probably have the building done and ready to go in 90 days, 90, 120 days. What's hurting us is the switchgear. is the electrical gear.
Yeah, the meter boxes, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we're having a rough time with that right now. We're not getting any great answers, so.
yeah, very hard to find.
Yeah.
Huge delays.
So that's gonna be our only hangup, but them bringing it into the property isn't a hangup, like bringing the gas into the property isn't a hangup. And if you look at the plans, I mean, we went through, if you look at what Watertown Fire District had us put on, we went back and forth, you know, day after day, and we're, you know, we're happy with whatever, you know, whatever they want. It's very detailed.
Yep,
And, that's basically it.
excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're set.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you for the presentation. Okay, Mark Lovely for Lovely Development.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
we gave you a resolution, were you inclined to take action in some manner?
All right, help me with that. All right, sorry. Bad, me
Yeah, it's
bad,
in
my bad. Hang on.
I did. I can't find it right now, but I did.
Yeah.
You got that? You got it?
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
I think you just hit the microphone right here, right? Is that it? Okay, there we go.
So, Danny, you wanna just do a brief reference to resolution and that, and, yeah, we'll do that, yeah, right, yeah, okay. Make a motion. Sure. All right.
I'd like to make a motion that we waive the reading of the resolution and adopt the written resolution with all conditions prepared by Mark Masad, Administrator of Land Use Building Services.
Do I hear a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Resolution carries. Mr. Lovely.
Hello, how are you this evening,
Fine,
Mr.
how are
Chairman?
you?
Fellow Commissioners, I have Andrew Cork with me from Cratchit and Jones. He'll give you a little bit of an overview of what we're looking to do up of Pondview Drive in the old Pondview subdivision. So Andy, I'll let you take over.
Sure. Good evening, Chair, Commission members. Again, my name is Andrew Quirk, professional engineer and principal with Cratchit Jones and Associates. And as Mark said, we're here to discuss the age-restricted housing development in the Highview Estates Phase 3. And we can have the first page in the PDF. Sure, this is the overview. On the plan here, Route 63, I guess the red doesn't show up on the screen, but the development is the part of the Pondview Estates, Highview Estates off of Pondview Drive, off of Straits Turnpike. The section of Phase 3 is shown on the plan here, outlined in red. And that's the area of Phase 3 of the development that was never built. On the next screen. This was what was previously approved, which was Phase 3 of the development. This is approximately 25 acres for this phase of Pondview Estates. It was lots 31 through 50 and included 20 lots for the lot development itself outside of the dedicated open space and the other phases. Next screen. This was the previous grading plan, just for reference, showing the access road coming from Pondview Drive, and then there was a wetland crossing of an intermittent stream to a cul-de-sac to the south, and then another wetland crossing of a more significant wetland area up to the north, and quite a bit of grading and a large detention basin, part of the entire development of this phase. Next screen. Today, this is the existing conditions today as it sits, and it shows that wetland area to the south, and then the portion that intersects the property in the middle. It is on the transition area of the R12.5 and R30 zones, and there is a right-of-way access to Pondview Drive. Next screen. So the proposal is more of a clustered type, low-impact, context-sensitive type style design for age-restricted housing. So the design has a lot more flexibility than a conventional subdivision to work with the grades, work with wetlands, and keep the overall development area more compact. The proposal that we're looking at is for 34 single-family detached homes in a homeowners association, common interest community with age restrictions. It's part of your section 55 of the regulations that deals with the regulations for age-restricted housing developments. Next screen. On that colored development, it shows the development area, and we used a curvilinear design, a lot of opportunities for landscape areas. We've done a number of these developments now, and a lot of the features and the things that can be maintained by the homeowners association really create quite a community. There'll be a sidewalk system, some community areas, overall development, and although there's 34 units, the impact area is much less, both to wetlands and the overall clearing and impact of the development. Next screen. That shows up here with the grading, which would be part of a site plan. We get into a lot more detail with it, but the development follows the grades a lot more closely, works with that grades better than a conventional subdivision. Next screen. This shows the open space areas and wetland areas that would all be preserved with this development. With the 25 acres, approximately about a third would be developed and 2/3 would remain in its natural state. Next screen. We are looking and contemplating now to do the development in phases. The first phase, the grades are much more manageable. There's no direct wetland impact at all. There's access off of Pondview Drive, and it really is more of an inclusive development on its own with the initial phase. This would be for 23 units, again, coming off of Pondview Drive. We're able to go around the wetlands rather than having a direct wetland impact. And so the first phase of the development would be these first 23 units to go through wetlands. There would be a zone change required per your section 55 to allow the age-restricted housing, and then a site plan for this portion of the development. Next screen. This would be the future phase, which does have that wetland crossing, the more substantial grades, and things that would take a little longer with construction. So, you know, to separate the two in terms of the permitting and the process. And this would be for the remaining 11 units for the total of 34. Next screen. These are some of the units that we've done. Similar projects that Mark Lovely's done are Willowbrook Estates, Muirfield Estates, and they have, maybe Mark can talk about them, but they're all, you know, ranch-style houses, very aesthetically pleasing. I'll let Mark talk about the types of units.
Yes, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. In the last 2.5 years, we've actually did 3 of these developments. Right now, we've finished 15 in Sellington called Kingsridge Estates, 15 in Sellington called Muirfield Estates, are in about 50% complete, which only started about a year and 5 months ago in Plainville, Farmington, that has 61 units. And that is already sold out, and we've already closed since 4th of July, 34 units over there at that development. But what we do, they have 3 different models. They're 1,444 square feet, 1,537, and 1,610. They're actually all about 22 to 25 feet apart, so they don't look like a condo development. They almost look like a single-family development. We don't let 2 of these same colors go next to each other. We have 15 different colors that they can pick from, but we don't let any of the 2 same colors go next to each other. We usually like to do a nice entranceway, maybe with some stone pillars and with some white post and rail fencing when you come in, and be able to dress the development up with landscape and everything like that in front of the units, and with street trees and everything like that that make it look like a residential community. Over at 265 Unionville Avenue, That's where our one is in Plainville, Farmington. In Plainville, if somebody'd like to take a ride by and check that out, you're more than welcome to.
Can you repeat that address? Sorry.
265 Unionville Avenue, and that would be in Plainville. Over that development, we have a weird angle that the Plainville-Farmington line goes through it. We have 38 in Plainville and 23 in Farmington in that development there.
What's the address in Farmington, Mark?
I would use the 265 Unionville Avenue in Plainville, because that is where the entrance goes in.
Okay.
Yep, right there. But we've been very successful, this product. It's funny how this came about. I was actually up at Waterbury Country Club playing golf, and I built quite a few houses in Watertown already, and a bunch of the neighbors I built for, or the people I built for, courted me and said, we need a development like your Willowbrook in Watertown. We have like 10 buyers that want them. Good thing about it is with this type of development, we have gone through and did traffic studies and everything like that. And with the 61 units, or there could have been almost 40 homes in the one in Plainville, Farmington, there's less of an impact with traffic with more of these units than there is with a single-family home. A lot of them, people go to Florida in the winter, they aren't traveling at the peak hours. There's no kids, because we don't allow any kids under 18 years old to live in them. In our condo docks, you might even have, some towns are higher, Farmington's 20 years old. So that, we go by your regulations, but ours, we always do it 18 or older can live in there. And people have to be 55 and older. And there's really no services at the town, which is nice. It's all private roads, it's all detached houses, so.
Just a couple technical things just to add without boring you with the technical data, but we did go through with town staff in terms of the permitting process and the regulations. And there's a odd caveat in your regulations. You have section 54 and 55, which deal with age-restricted housing. 54 is up to 10 acres, and 55 is for 150 acres and more, so there's a gap in the middle. I don't know if that was intentional or how that was. So we went through, we worked closely with staff as to how best to approach this oddity in the regulations, and the way we've designed this site plan complies with section 55 in every regard, except that it is less than 150 acres, although all of Highview Estates would meet that regulation, but this component is less. And the other is, this is a single-family detached style housing, so we're not proposing a clubhouse. There is a section 55.49 calls for a clubhouse, but it's really not part of the style of this community. It really is going to look and feel like a subdivision, but handled in a homeowners association in terms of maintenance and things of that nature. That regulation does allow for 2 units per acre with a gross calculation. 54, for whatever reason, has a net calculation. We take off wetlands, steep slopes, floodplain, things of that nature. But using 55 and 25 acres, we'd be allowed up to 50 units, and this is proposing 34. So again, the only two areas that we would work with the commission to try to see if whether it be an exception or rewrite that section of the text is the acreage in the clubhouse, which I really feel are not significant to the nature and the style of the development that's being proposed. With that, I think we could take any questions.
I think just one more comment too. We looked at Reflections up there and what they did up there off of Ice House Road before. I think they use the same regulation. Yeah. They don't have a clubhouse. The only thing we're doing a little bit different, they have some units that are attached. Ours would all be detached. As far as the association goes too, on our third project in 2.5 years, my mother-in-law actually lives in the first project that we built, and we have a condo fee of just under $200 a month, and in 2.5 years they've been able to keep that budget and not be able to go up. Just because the homeowners take care of the home, the association takes care of the plowing, the lawn mowing, the maintenance of the landscaping, garbage pickup, and the street lights. So it's a very minimal cost to the homeowners. That's what's nice about not having a clubhouse. They can keep that number down.
Are the homeowners responsible for the driveways?
The owners are responsible not for plowing the driveways, but maintaining the driveways they are, but the plowing and the shoveling of the rocks, the association does that.
Right, so they would replace, the homeowners would replace the driveways, right? And what about the decks?
The decks are all maintenance-free where they're Trex decking. We don't do any decks off the back. Most of them are all paver brick patios, and we have a small front porch that is done with pressure treated and all maintenance-free decking.
Gutters?
Gutters are all underground, usually we put them into an underground surface
Oh,
system.
sorry, I
No problem.
apologize. Excuse me.
No problem.
This is my fault here.
No, don't worry about that.
Close it. Close it, okay.
Gutters, we do put into an underground surface system. We do give the option to the homeowners to put gutter guards on if they want to, but gutter cleaning is their responsibility because it is a single-family home. What we do too in our association docs, we actually do the landscaping in the front of the property, but what makes these unique, we let the buyers do any landscaping on the side of their houses and in the rear of their houses that they want to add, but they're responsible for those and they have to maintain them. The only thing they can't do is do anything that's gonna be intrusive to their neighbor, where a tree that'll grow over their neighbor's house or anything. And it's been very nice because we've had people that they'll do sidewalks to their back, patio by their garage, coming out their side door of their garage and, put landscaping between them. So it looks nice because it looks like a nice community instead. Yep, we usually will try to put a gazebo in like the, where one of the roundabouts are, we'll put a gazebo into it with a walkway to it and stuff, so dress it up a little bit.
Any questions from the?
Through the chair, what is the width of the private roads?
I designed this with 24-foot wide roads. I think your regulations allow for 18 for common drives and then 22 to 24 for the common. So we just did 24 throughout.
And then what is available for visitor parking if a family were to have a Christmas party and so forth and so on?
Yeah, so on the plans you have, a lot of those turnaround areas, we would add visitor parking in those more common areas next to the gazebo and other communal features so that we would accommodate visitor parking.
Each home has a two-car garage, plus there's at least two-car spaces in the driveway, plus we have the guest spaces as well.
I don't see the guest spaces on the,
No, it's not added yet at this
Okay.
point, but it would be in those turnaround areas. That's where we typically add it in when we look at the gazebos and other communal features.
any other questions?
I do through the chair. I had several questions, but you guys answered most of them during your presentation. What are you thinking for price point?
I would say the 1,444 square foot house would start just over 400,000. And that's what we are over in, we're actually higher than that in Plainville and Farmington, but we start the 1,444 at 419.9 over there, so I'm thinking right around the same price. And then the next one goes up to 429.9 with the 1,537, and the 1,610 is 439.9. And then there is an option, which a lot of these units show in the back, to add a 3 or 4 season room off the back as well, which is 144 square feet. And that's been very popular. I'd probably say we do that in probably about, I'd say 75% of the units go for that option.
Yeah, those are good numbers.
Yeah.
That's it from me.
Through the chair, I have a couple. Are you worried about the additional traffic leading out to Route 63?
Not really, because this type of development when we do our traffic study, which we will, and we'll have a traffic engineer for that, we just did one of these, in Cheshire and got it approved, but unfortunately the neighbors sort of appealed it. We went back in for the 20-lot subdivision that was there. And with the 20-lot subdivision compared to the 34 that we're going for there, the traffic study came out that there was less traffic in these than there are in the 20 single-family homes that would have teenagers in them.
Right.
With me now, I've closed about 64 of these in the last 2.5 years. A lot of the people have only one car between both of them, husband and wife. And unfortunately, there is a lot of single people that buy these units that have downsized after either they lost one of their loved ones or one of their loved ones had to go into care.
Right.
We're seeing a lot of that in my development right now. The phase I'm in right now, I think, has 30 units, and there's probably a third of those are just single people.
Okay.
All the garages are two-car garages?
All garages are two-car. Yep.
One more through the chair.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, this was approved for a bunch of single-family houses, I think 20 or 21?
21, correct.
Yeah, so you're only really adding, did you say 34?
34.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're adding 14 units with really a ton of less impact, a ton of less of clearing with where you'd have yards and stuff like that. And then we put a conservation easement on the rest of it so it can't be cleared and it stays natural.
Thank you.
These will be sold before the spade hits the ground.
We want to, you laugh, with the 61 over in Plainville Farmington, we actually had a list with 100 names before we even started putting the shovel in the ground.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just to add to that, yeah, the impacts are so much less. The road is 24 instead of 30. Instead of a 40-foot setback to the house, it's 20. So everything is cut in half in terms of your impact area. That reduces the grading, the stormwater, all the other things, so.
How's the landscaping and the entrance gonna be? What do you plan for that?
I would like to do, what I've done at the last two developments, I've done big stone pillars that come in, and not large, but not overbearing, but about 42 inches wide, with the name of the development in those pillars, and then go in after those pillars with post and rail fence, white on the way in after it.
Okay.
Yeah. And usually we leave some stuff where they can plant flowers in the summertime in front of the post, and in the wintertime, fall, they can put mums there or something like that.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions?
Just one, through the chair. So there won't be a community room or anything like that?
No, it's funny because with the 3 developments I've done, nobody's even asked or wanted one. They were actually thankful that there wasn't one in the development.
That's a
Yeah.
so I asked because I'm on the Watertown Housing Authority, and they use their community centers.
Do they
a
really?
lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yep. It's been funny with these, people like the lesser amount in the condo fee instead. Nice
Yeah.
thing about these units too, they do entertain a lot at them. And we've even finished some of the basements in these, for entertainment spaces, because, they're a lot in their 60s and 70s, but they're still active.
Yeah.
So we are finishing some basements where they can hold, parties down there and stuff like that. It's funny, you get these, I got one, I did almost 1,000 square foot basement, like, what are you gonna use this for? But they wanted it, but yeah, that's why we haven't, seen a need for those, unfortunately, in these.
Fair enough. Thank you.
No problem.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me. I don't know if Mr. Quirk could address the drainage issues. I wasn't in on any of the previous preliminary meetings, but there are 2 water quality ponds I think with the subdivision phase, is that those still remain, or how are you going to address water quality?
We haven't gotten into the details of the design at all yet. I know that Phase 3 had a very large detention basin behind where we're proposing Unit 31. And in meeting with town staff, it was to try to see if that could be minimized, because it's a lot of tree clearing, it's a large area, and to go with more of like a LID type style.
Okay, I wonder what you're proposing.
So what I'd like to do is, we still have to get the previous stormwater management report, see how that one was addressing the impervious area. This should be less impervious, and then we want to break it into smaller areas, like the initial phase and the second phase, rather than one large massive.
Right, okay, thank you.
Smaller.
Yep.
That's raising, I live at Reflections, so I moved there 19 years ago, I guess. It's like 2005, so that would be 18 years, I guess, right?
Time flies.
Yeah, it does, it sure does, We had a drainage problem that the developer did not, complete. So we had a litigation. We used the fiduciary theory to go after the developer because they were board members and they had a fiduciary obligation to the association, and they didn't do the drainage properly. So that's the only problem that we've had there, and it's turned out to be a great community, and and the demand is crazy.
Yeah.
None of these ever go on the market.
I noticed that. I looked
No
online.
MLS. You won't find anything listed in the MLS. And this guy next to me has been asking me, is anybody gonna, dying, or anybody gonna sell or move,
I don't think I use those exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. We appreciate your time, and thank you.
For all the
Thank
input.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
by the way, you enjoy a very good reputation.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Take care, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Have a good night. Thanks for lunch.
Are you- Okay, Attorney Stephanie Cummings.
Just getting our PowerPoint squared away.
Okay.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
My name is Attorney Stephanie Cummings. I am here with Ray Cochiola, who is a member of ARS Associates, here to discuss preliminarily with you about adding indoor self-storage units to Watertown's IG-80 district. I do have some slides to share with you when they're ready. Yeah, I certainly can. This one? There we go. Did you hear me all okay, or would you like me to repeat myself? Okay, thank you. So we do have some slides whenever they are ready, and we can walk you through what we're thinking here. Let me do a little jig. Okay. So these are, what's highlighted in pink are going to demonstrate to you what the IG-80 districts in Watertown do look like. It's a very small portion of the overall municipal limits. And right now, pardon me? These are the current uses that are permitted in IG-80. It does not include any sort of storage facilities. And when you look at what districts in Watertown do permit storage units, both indoor and outdoor storage units, you can see I've color coded them. So the 200 district is going to be the blue. And then you're going to have the green, which is your IR80 district, and your BD is that small yellow. And they each reflect something slightly different. They all do appear to be related to Section 49, those restrictions there, which we'll get to, but they do all permit self-storage facilities, and they do surround the area that we were looking to convert to allow to have storage facilities. So the current definitions per your regulations allow for indoor self-storage facilities and a self-storage facility definition. They vary just slightly. The facilities primarily designed for commercial storage of residential, household, and similar items is what they define indoor self-storage facilities to include. And self-storage facility, which I believe was added in 2018, a building or group of buildings containing separate individual and private storage spaces of varying sizes available for lease or rent for varying periods of time, both of those being subject to Section 49. Section 49 talks specifically about the special permit provisions and the regulations that relate to self-storage facilities. There are some inconsistencies here, so I think when we would be applying for a regulation change, we might look to clean these up as well. They do reference indoor storage facilities, even though it looked like it was meant to broaden the definition. There's also some duplicity between Section 49 and 49.6 relating to the Connecticut DEEP. And then there does seem to be some inconsistency with the outdoor storage. If you look at 49.5, it does say outdoor storage of automotive vehicles is prohibited, and but 49.6 does indicate that it's limited to outdoor recreational vehicles and boats on trailers. So depending on what the commission's appetite is, we might look to clean those up as well in a global change. So I looked at also what do surrounding towns permit. Mostly all of the towns that abut Watertown do permit self-storage in their industrial area, which is what your IG-80 district is. The only town that does not allow any sort of storage facilities is Middlebury. But in the IG-80, the primary abutter for Watertown's IG-80 district is Waterbury, and those industrial areas are permitted in Waterbury to have self-storage units, so you're going to have consistency throughout the municipalities. And this specific site is what brings us to having this conversation. There's a property located on 18 Falls Avenue, which ARS Associates currently owns, that they are thinking to, it's in an IG-80 zone, and they have been approached to have a storage facility on this property if the commission is so inclined to include storage facilities in the IG-80 regulations. This is the site as it existed prior to September 2021. As many of you will recall, there was a detrimental fire that that burned all of the existing structures on that property to the ground. So it's a pretty big piece of property. You could see there's some topography there, but the current facility, how many square feet was your building?
5,000 square feet.
5,000 square feet. So that building there was 5,000 square feet and only took up a small portion of the property. So there really is a nice buildable area to develop something of this nature. This property does actually cross the municipal borders into Waterbury, into an industrial area there, which again would permit a storage facility of any sort of nature. This is just a potential rendering of what a facility of that nature could look like. It's really clean. I think it really adds some beauty to the areas. It's a modern design. It looks quite nice. So we don't have the specific details yet of what the actual facility would look like. We wanted to have these preliminary conversations first to make sure that the commission had the appetite to move forward of a change of this nature. And then we did a very rough mock of what a large facility would look like on that piece of property on 18 Falls Avenue. So that is just potentially where the building could be located on the property. We did meet with town staff to have an initial conversation and then came to you. So I will open it up for questions.
Commission, anybody have any questions on the commission? Mark, staff, what's your input?
Of course, we have to, when folks come to us with a proposal, typically for the change of zone, there's a specific property in mind. We would look at the impact on on all of the IG, in this case, the IG 80 zones. And it comes to light that interestingly enough, the IG 80 zones are small. They seem to be scattered throughout town. I don't know the genesis of that. The IR zones are much more cohesive. But the commission has, at least in my tenure here, approved outdoor and indoor storage facilities in both the IR 80 and the IR 200 zones, which were more restricted zones, and they seem to fit in nicely with the uses in that zone. So based on Stephanie's presentation and the impacts of the surrounding towns, or the uses in the surrounding towns, it looks like those towns use or have approved those uses in the industrial and business zone. So it seems to make sense if the commission is so inclined.
Okay. How much landmark is the IG 80 zone where this, approximately, how much larger is the zone in that area than just this parcel? Do you have any idea? How much does it extend?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Okay, I don't understand it either, but going along, what's the name of this? This is, Falls Avenue, right?
Correct.
How far does the IG 80 zone extend on Falls Avenue past the Cochiola property?
That's a good question. I know it includes, and I think it's one continuous zone, it includes up to at least 20 Falls Avenue, and those properties are not right next door to each other. I'm not sure about the sequence, the numbering sequence there. Geez.
It encompasses 18 Falls Avenue, which is at the Waterbury line, the current neighbor, which is Spino Paving, and across the street, which is now Eagle Security. It's not a huge area, okay, right there, because behind is residential.
And if you actually look at the uses that are in an IG 80 zone already, adding an indoor self-storage is far less impactful than some of the uses that are currently permitted in an IG 80.
Right through the chair, I
Sure.
have a question. Actually, one for Mark. Mark, the storage facilities on Echo Lake by the highway there that we approved, are those in the R80?
Those are in the IR 80 zone. IR, I believe it's IR 80.
IR80, which is different than this zone?
Yes, the IR zones are more associated with the, not industrial park, but with the manufacturing park, with the corporate park setting of course, up on Echo Lake Road in that area. Those are the restricted industrial zones. They're meant for, and they're very well developed over the years, those processes, those buildings and those processes that go on in that area. So it's more restricted. The IG is more catch-all, it's more for,
More broad,
you know,
right?
variety of heavier types of industrial
Okay.
uses.
And with that being said, I actually think this is in a great location for that stuff, a self-storage unit, and I think indoor like that would be really an asset to Watertown. That's my opinion on it.
Thank you.
To the chair.
Sure.
I think there's more industrial buildings up the street. 140 Falls Ave is very industrial, and all the way to Bisbee Avenue. I don't know if it's zoned that way, but it's there. And this rendering of the building, I think, is beautiful, and these are low impact and they're quiet. The traffic's not going to be much at all. Who visits their stuff in storage?
Right.
And, you know, you're in a generally industrial area as it is now, so I think this thing would be a big improvement for down there.
Through the
Jack,
chair.
yes.
Oh, go ahead, Jack.
Go ahead, you already started talking.
All right, through the chair. I think the location's great too, because I think the only similar type self-storage is up on the hill in our industrial park. And that location where the old, 18 Falls Avenue, I mean, there's lots of apartments, there's lots of condos, there's a lot of people that would probably benefit from this. I looked at the rendering that they sent, and it looks just like a building that I rented a bunch of times for my daughter when she was in college in North Carolina. Safe, clean, lots of choices, 4x8, 5x10, I think you picked a good spot.
Thank you.
Through the chair, first of all, your presentation was very professional. Did you say part of this land is also in Waterbury?
Yes, a slight portion of 18 Falls Avenue does extend into Waterbury, but it does extend into, I believe, the IG district of Waterbury. So it would be permitted to have a self-storage facility.
Okay, so that's already permitted in their zone?
That's
Okay.
correct. It's permitted by a zoning permit in all industrial areas of Waterbury.
And is this is this a franchise type of self-storage that would want to come in here? I mean, because I see those, what are those, cubes or those, they're all along 95 there, you see them. What were they, cube or something like that, or?
Right now, this is more preliminary to see if there's an appetite to have it. We've been approached by some people to say, but the regulations don't allow for it.
Okay.
So this is just to have a conversation to see if this is something that we may be able to have.
Yeah, I mean, I feel it's a great location for it personally. Thank you.
Through the chair, how many square feet do you think you would be on the building?
It really depends. We would go through the normal permitting process, but we didn't want to get too much into the details without at least understanding whether or not the commission would have the appetite to make that change to allow us to explore it further.
Okay. And I agree with the others. I think this is a good location, but I would like to see it be added as a special permit, just so for other locations, we would just get that.
Control.
Right. So it's not as of a right. It would just be a special permit.
That would be consistent with what you've approved in the IR 200 and IR 80s, and I believe as well in the BD district.
Okay.
Which only permits, the BD district only permits indoor.
Through the chair, I have one more
Sure.
question. Do you know, it might be early, but do you know if there's any temperature control units in these units?
I believe it, the whole building is climate controlled.
Is it?
That would be,
Okay.
Yes, I believe the whole thing is. There's nothing as right now proposed to be outside where you see the garage doors going up. You literally have to go in the building.
Okay.
Do you have any idea how many square feet you're gonna deal? You don't know?
It's gonna depend on how big of a building they can put on that area that's already flat on the top.
Okay.
Because you do have a brook on the, you know, do a brook that runs through it.
Okay.
So we'd want to stay out of the upland review area.
Yep.
I would say it's gonna be bigger than 5,000 square feet.
Oh, okay.
Through the chair, obviously, it would be several levels also.
I don't
Yeah.
believe it would be more than
Three or four
three
stories?
stories.
Yeah,
Because the regulations only allow for a certain height as it is anyway.
yeah. 35 feet, I think.
Yeah, of course, we would, whatever we propose would be in line with what your regulations are. But again, we didn't want to get too in the details without knowing if it was even permissible.
I think you can pretty much feel that this is gonna be okay with us. You gotta do Waterbury, of course, but they're probably a little, I don't even know who does the zoning there anymore.
Quite a few people.
This section that's actually in Waterbury is very difficult to access. It needs to be accessed from almost the rear road,
Yeah.
per se. And it wouldn't even be, that part of the property is probably not even gonna be buildable.
Yeah, it's tucked down in the back.
Okay.
And it's by zoning permit as well, so it would be quite easy, I think. Waterbury would be, okay. But we'll definitely check with them. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
I'd like to propose a 5-minute recess. Sure. 5-minute recess. Aye. I know, I gotta,
I'm just kidding.